Hello and welcome, everybody, to my Dying Light review. I played this game on PS5 with one of my friends, and for those who don't know, Dying Light 1, the first game released back in 2016, is my favorite game of all time. That goes past every PS1, 2, and 3 game I've ever played. Dying Light 1 is by far the funnest gaming experience I've ever had playing a single game. And that's because the people I played with just made it exceptional. And I played with four people. Unfortunately, in Dying Light 2, I've only played with one person, but that still made the experience enjoyable. And I'll get into the reasons why I think four players on this game might not be as fun as four players in Dying Light 1.
I'm taking you out and making sure you never bother her again.
Do you even know what she's done?
It doesn't matter, but I know what you've done. You tried to extort an old woman.
That's like the fourth time someone's done that to us this game, as if they have a chance against us too. Like,
They don't
get
know
the.
it's two of us, do they?
Oh, he's about to. Oh shit! You just pulled out the fucking cosmo. Look, he's whimpering.
Just a quick note, if you're playing on the PS5 like I was, I don't know if it's the same on the Xbox Series X or S or whatever, but on the next gen console PS5, the R2 button, that button that you use to attack, that's the main button that you're just going to be mashing in most fights. The R2 button has resistance on it, and I think that scales with how much stamina you have left in your gauge. So if you're really low on stamina, then the R2 button's quite hard to press down, and believe me, you will get finger muscles by the end of this game. Right, holding right opens your wheel of weapons, which I find really cool. I think in Dying Light 1, you could only hold two weapons at the same time, or maybe only just one, and you had to switch in the inventory. But this game, you hold right on the D-pad, it opens up a weapon wheel, and you can use the right analog to select. So that's really nice. You can quickly switch between weapons because some weapons are like buffed during night, or buffed during dark, or they're like strong against zombies or strong against humans, that sort of stuff. So it's really cool that you recognize you're going against humans, so you quickly switch your weapon, or switch to your bow or crossbow or whatever. So that's really good. The down is your flashlight, so that's very useful. And the left D-pad is throwables, so but you'll be throwing like grenades, mines, C4s, Molotovs, throwing knives, all sorts of stuff. You lock that into your left analog stick. So the D-pad, I love the weapon wheels. Obviously used in many other games. I'm very glad they used it in this game, and all the other buttons are as usual. But that's all I really want to say about the controller. So in this game, you can level up one of two trees, which I believe in Dying Light 1, it was one of three trees, but I can't exactly remember. But in this game, it's either combat or parkour. And you would need inhibitors at the start of the game. You need inhibitors to buff your health or stamina stat. And doing so will increase your maximum stamina or your maximum health. And a lot of the skills at the start of the game are governed by how much stamina or health you have. So it's you do yourself justice to take a look at all the stamina skills and all the health skills and see where you want to go from there. I have no problems with this type of style of leveling up. I find it very cool that you only need one level up point for every skill, because in many games it's the case where you need one for the first level, you need two for the upgrade of that attack or skill, and then you need 3 points for the final version of that skill. In this game, it's not like that. It's 1 point for every level, and I find that really very helpful. And they've definitely thought about the player in this regard, because sometimes it takes a long time to level up, especially when you're later in the game. It takes a while to level up, and I never felt in this game that I had to grind for anything. You just naturally get points, which is very good. It's very difficult to calculate that as the developer, I believe. So they did very well on that. Now let's move on to the parkour element of the game, which is where this game is mostly known for. It's parkour style, with zombies, of course. So the parkouring in this game, I would say, was very good. It's definitely an upgrade from Dying Light 1, as you'd expect. You definitely feel like there's a lot more free moving, but I feel like there was a bit less options than Dying Light 1. I don't know why. Even when I got all the skills at the end, and I was an absolute machine, it still felt like some things were still quite clunky. The mashing the X to run up to scurry up a slope, or like the awkwardness of like climbing up vertically ledge to ledge. It just felt a bit like it didn't feel as fast paced as Dying Light 1 did. Um, but other than that, I'd say the parkour recognition of like how you jump and how you grab is really good. I wouldn't say it's perfect because there've been many times where they wouldn't grab or they would grab when I didn't want them to grab it. So the parkour is pretty decent. There were some times where when I was activating wall runs when I didn't mean to. That was one of the most annoying things, especially when you're on a high-rise tower and you're trying to grab a ledge. But since your camera is looking slightly angled towards the building, it will trigger a wall run. But sometimes you could only do that because the way you wanted to grab the ledge was on the building. It's not like a protruding ledge. It was like a ledge that was missing a window, so you can grab the ledge. So if you try to grab it, you might activate a wall run by accident. So it was very frustrating in that regards, and I've fallen so many times because of it. But thankfully, there is no penalty for dying. It's like they realize that you're probably going to die a lot because of stuff like this, so there's no penalty for that. The only penalty for dying, from what I could gather, was if you died at night, you'd lose all XP that you've earned at night. So that's that. Not as harsh as Dying Light 1, where Dying Light 1, you lost XP every time you died, a set proportion or set percentage or whatever. But yeah, moving on to combating. I'd say the combat was quite decent and fun, pretty standard, just R2 mashing. You can make it more complex if you wanted to. You can make like Molotovs and stuff like that, or mines. But honestly, if you wanted to get the job done quickly, just mash R2 and drop kick and pick up survival weapons, opportunity weapons on the floor. You could find bricks, you could find bottles, you can find spears. And that's it. I'm not going to pretend there's a longer list, okay? There's not a longer list. Those are the only opportunity weapons you can find. You can throw them, and that'll stagger them. You get a nice free big hit on them, or you could just drop kick them, which is probably the most effective thing in the game. And if I was to give anyone a tip in this review, you must get the drop kick first. And I don't think about the vault kick or the air kick, the drop kick, the one you can just do a standing drop kick. That does so much damage and knocks them off their feet. It's great, and it's hilarious as well.
It's viral.
Fucking hell, you got
Are unique.
powerful.
Fucking
I
hell.
think you got powerful as weapon.
So level.
Just comes sprinting in, and then just as quickly coming from the other side of my screen as 2 feet. Just parallel.
There are too many fucking issues and bugs with the game. Granted, we got it on day one release, but we all know that's not a good enough excuse. When the game comes out, we as the consumer are expecting a working product that works as the designers intended. Now, when you get loads of bugs, that is obviously a big no-no. But I must say, the bugs in this game, most of them made the game funnier, and there was some of them that made it a bit more difficult to manage. But the majority of them made them so much funnier, and I am definitely going to be doing a video on the top 5 most annoying things in this game and the top 5 best moments or funniest moments, and some of those moments were due to bugs. So keep an eye out for that. Hit the like and subscribe. I don't know why I'm advertising that right now in the middle of the review. Back to the review. This game has some really bad bugs. Like my friend fell through the floor. At some point, we would have an infinite conversation glitch where we'd get 2 options and select one option, and then he would just say a bunch of rubbish and then give us the same 2 options again. I'm like, right, is this part of the dialogue? We choose the same option again, and it would just go in an infinite loop. And we were like, well, how do we get out of this? Is he making us say the other option? That sort of thing. There's all sorts of weird bugs in this game. The list can honestly go on. So just keep an eye out for my videos to see some of the funny shit that has happened and some of the annoying shit that's happened. But please be warned that when you play this game, there will be bugs. And I really hope that Techland are doing their best to sort them out. With all that being said, given my verdict for the game, take a look on screen for my scaling system. So I'm going to give Dying Light 2 a 7.3, and that's because I was playing it with my friend. If you're playing it by yourself, I honestly wouldn't give it more than 6.5 because 7 is great. So there were great moments, enough to breach the 7 barrier, but not enough to get to 8, which I deem as excellent. There were maybe 1 or 2 excellent moments, but I just didn't feel threatened in the game at any point. They really didn't use volatiles like they did in Dying Light 1, so we didn't feel threatened. We didn't feel like there was like any sort of excitement because whenever we went into a fight, it was just like more generic fighting, which can be a bit fun. But honestly, we just obviously knew we were going to win. It's very hard for us to both get downed. Um, Maybe it's a bit more difficult with single player, but the feel of the game just wasn't there like it was in Dying Light 1. The chases were decent. They were better in Dying Light 1, in my opinion. Right, so thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. And if you didn't, then have some sucker dick soup. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.